With summer 2021 starting to ramp up, people are getting excited for a lot of reasons. Maybe you've been locked inside for the past year on quarantine and you're excited to finally touch grass again. Or maybe you're excited to go to the beach, or even see family again. Or maybe you're excited to make new acquaintances within your community. But if you're like me, you're excited for one thing and one thing only. And you better damn well believe that it's Halo news. And lucky for you, I'll be covering the latest Inside Infinite from this past week, as well as some updates on the release of the game from the head of Xbox, Phil Spencer. So, let's just get into it. I figured I'd start this video by discussing some of the things that I found most interesting from the latest Inside Infinite. I think it's kind of cool that they start the article by reiterating that the content drops we'll be seeing for Halo aren't just a one and done thing, and that they'll never stop supporting Halo. This just kind of reinforces the whole Halo Infinite is a 10-year plan idea, which I gotta be honest, when I first heard about that 10-year plan, I was honestly pretty skeptical, but the more I see of this content and in-game equipment, it just makes sense to me. In fact, I was listening to an episode of the Defining Duke podcast recently, which is a great podcast run by Mr. Matty Plays over on the Last Stand Media YouTube channel, and you should definitely all go check that out. But on a recent episode, Matty was joined by one of my favorite YouTubers, Chris Raygun, and we all know Chris Raygun loves Halo. And Chris said two things in particular that really got me thinking about the future of Halo Infinite. The first thing he said was to imagine Halo 3 if it would have had content added regularly over a 10-year period. We'd have seen all kinds of goofy and awesome stuff added to that game. New equipment, new weapons, new maps, new vehicles, new armors. I mean, it's a really good point to make for this 10-year plan for Infinite. But just to get off topic for a quick second before I dive back into this Inside Infinite article, Chris also said that Halo Infinite looks like the first real sequel to Halo 3, and I couldn't agree more with that point. He said that everything after Halo Reach felt like a sequel to Reach, and he's got a really good point there. It's really awesome to see how they seem to have gone back to the drawing board to give a classic Halo feel with a modern twist, which is something that I feel like Halo 4 and 5 struggled to do on many different levels. But getting back to the article, and don't worry, I'm not going to talk your ear off with every single part of this article. I'm only going through the bits that I found to be most interesting. So up next, I wanted to discuss the fact that they mentioned that seasons will be 3 months long. And I honestly think that this is a perfect amount of time. It keeps things feeling fresh, but also gives players long enough to feel like they're getting the full experience from each season. And let's not forget that even if 3 months isn't enough time for you, the battle pass that you purchase will never expire, so you can still progress it at your own speed. They also mentioned that each week will bring new activities within each season, so you're always engaged in having new and fun ways to unlock seasonal content. I'd imagine it'll be a bit like MCC with weekly PvE or PvP challenges that give you incentive to try different modes that may have never been on your radar, in return for XP that can be used to unlock new things within the Battle Pass. They also mentioned that there will be some events called Fractures, and these events basically open up opportunities for rewards that might not be, let's say, canonical to the Halo universe. The one example they gave us is that one of the Fracture events in the first season will give you the opportunity to get that samurai armor we saw in the E3 trailer. And this is exciting for a number of reasons, but the main reason this excites me is that it opens up so many possibilities for potential crossovers with other games. Remember my last video when I said that Xbox should be looking into doing Halo Infinite crossovers with their owned IP? Well, let's rewind back to that video for a second. And all of this customization opens up a lot of different opportunities for collaborations with other games. And imagine a Doom crossover with Halo. Like, for example, maybe you get a Doom guy armor coating or like a super shotgun weapon skin. And there's so many crossovers they can do with just licensed Xbox games. Think of Gears of War, Doom, Wolfenstein, Sea of Thieves, Hellblade, Outer Worlds, Skyrim, Fallout. I mean, the list goes on and on. They could have so many crossovers with this stuff. I'm really hoping that this turns out to be true because I really need a Halo and Doom crossover in my life. And of course, they reiterated that they don't want this game to feel like a grind for players, and let's face it, that's honestly the biggest problem with most multiplayer-heavy games nowadays. Like, it's really easy to get burned out on games just trying to keep up with new content each season. A good example is I played nothing but Destiny 2 for almost a year and a half, but I just got burned out on it, and coming back to it now, I just feel like I'm so far behind that I wouldn't even be able to enjoy it the way I did before. And Halo Infinite is looking to completely alleviate this problem, and that's really awesome to see, especially when it's such a big franchise setting the example. And we even got to see some new sets of armor, like that samurai armor we saw in the multiplayer trailer at E3, as well as some other pieces and armor coatings. Now, this was mainly a Halo Waypoint focused Inside Infinite, so admittedly I only skimmed through these Halo Waypoint bits, but there was one thing I found to be interesting. We already knew that you could customize your Halo Infinite Spartan via the new companion app, but in this article they also mentioned the fact that you could track your stats and progression across not just Infinite, but also MCC and Halo 5. And that's awesome that they aren't just planning to forget these games once Infinite comes out. I mean, you never know, I might even jump back into Halo 5 and MCC from time to time after Infinite's launch just to keep my numbers up, you know? Now, I think the general consensus on Halo's showing at E3 2021 was positive, but there was one thing that had people a bit concerned, and that was the fact that there was still no solid release date for Halo Infinite. And thankfully, we've got some clarification on that coming from the head of Xbox himself, Phil Spencer. Check out this little clip from the Dropped Frames podcast where Phil sheds some light on a release window for Halo Infinite.
What's going on?
Yeah, absolutely. And you heard Joseph say in the talk track this holiday, for us, we know kind of our range in the 3-4 week range. We don't have yet the exact day. There's some other things with some other game timing that we're trying to look at. We'll have better clarity over the summer, but this isn't a month's thing. This is just down to a few weeks.
Now, this sounds like great news. Like I said, a lot of people were getting worried that it could be pushed back to 2022, but judging by those comments, it's just a timing issue. And if I had to guess, I'd imagine they don't want to put Forza Horizon 5 and Halo Infinite out back to back, although I'd be a very happy guy if they did that. I mean, don't get me wrong. But I also think that they want to keep an eye on Call of Duty and see where they plan to release so that they can get a head start against that competition. But in the end, I think we can rest easy knowing that by the time holiday season rolls around, we'll be enjoying some sweet, sweet Halo Infinite. But for now, that's really all I've got for this video. But what do you guys think about this latest Inside Infinite post, and do you think we could possibly see crossovers with other games and IPs within Halo's multiplayer? Leave a comment below and let me know what you think. Leave a like if you like the video, and please remember to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell because it helps out the channel a ton. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.